Super Showdown is without doubt the most popular game mode in SuperCard since launching in Season 12, and in this video, I'm going to tell you how to smash it, how to crash it, how to dominate, how to bludgeon, whatever you want to use to describe it. You're going to be beating this mode better than when you first clicked on this video. I can't give guarantees on YouTube, but I can say after this long ass video, I'm hoping that you will get a new personal best for your streak. And that's where we're going to start. In the comments down below, let me know what your personal best is so far. Free to play or pay to win, we don't care, just leave it in the comments down below. And if you want to see more guides just like this, then hit the subscribe button whilst you are there. And if this goes on to help you, or you're just excited to see this guide, then hit a thumbs up on the channel to complete the all-important oxygen check. Yeah, I need to know you guys are breathing. It's kind of important. I mean, not that anything against anyone who's undead and watching this. It could be, a bit of a problem. Halloween season's been and gone. I'd like to hope that the undead are back where they came from. So, yeah, just let me know you're breathing by hitting that thumbs up. And let's get into supering your showdown. Super downing your showdown. Showing your super showdown how to soup up. Super.
What?
I'm working on it. But let's start off with the basics, and that is, how do you play the mode? Well, to play the mode, you need Super Showdown tokens. You can't start playing unless you have those. And there are several ways to get more Super Showdown tokens. The first is daily quests. This one is super simple. You'll see things like use energy in the King of the Ring gives you 1 Super Showdown token. There might be more than that. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 of them. But the best source is the pack at the top, the grand reward. Complete all your daily quests and you're guaranteed to get at least 2. Next up, you may have seen these bonus packs that end up in the store. These are the ones that usually are for the latest special edition card or limited edition card. And these usually include some tokens. These Penta ones don't, but there are usually at least 2 to 3 in each pack. So it is worth opening these even if it's just for the special edition card chance. Next up are redeem codes and QR codes. That's self-explanatory. One that does work as of today includes 5 additional tokens to help assist you. It's also worth keeping an eye on the daily streak in the web store, because at some point I imagine they will start showing up in there. Another location is Crack the Case. If you manage to open up one of the cases, you will find Super Showdown tokens in each one. Starting at 2 for bronze, silver and gold, and then platinum and diamond get 3. Or worst case scenario, you can always go to the Super Showdown in-game store where you can buy booster packs of 1, 4 or 7 tokens. The maximum number of tokens you can build up before you'll get a maximum token warning is 50. But the actual number of maximum tokens that you can collect before the daily quest and free bonus packs stop paying out without purchasing is 75. At that point, you'll open up your daily quest big reward.
You get nothing
Other than the Rarity draft pick and, if you need them, survivor tokens. Let's start off with an important note for everyone though, regardless whether you're pay to win, free to play, whatever. And that is that Super Showdown has an element of skill and timing that comes with understanding the mode, secret strategies, and repetitive play, which is part of why you're watching this video. But just like Boom and Survivor before it, sometimes it comes down to your RNG. Some of the longest and best streaks that you'll see on the leaderboard required an insane amount of luck. Right matches, the right requirements, the right moments. It's not as simple as do this and win. Lol. Sometimes the game will give you a horrendous starter deck without adventure cards at all. Sometimes the match requirements are so ludicrously rigged against you that you cannot win. Sometimes you'll put all of your efforts and cards into one match only for the opponent to skip a match and it'll be worthless. Which is why the first part of this guide is to say it's okay to lose. Get used to it, because in this mode it's going to happen in some of the most BS ways possible. Certain scenarios and certain situations you just can't win. If that happens to you, just brush yourself off and try again. With that out of the way, we're going to do this guide whilst playing a match. match, just so you can see this for yourself. And we're going to be running through pay to win and free to play methods. And the way you have to play differs drastically whether you are not spending a single credit, whether you're just dipping your toes in buying a couple of boosters, or you're going full hog and just dropping as many credits as possible to get the longest streak. So let's start off a run. Let's see what cards we get. Are we going to get any adventure cards? Got quite a few prizes. Nope, unfortunately didn't start with any adventures, and this is what happens.
That's the way the cookie crumbles.
Now, the first thing to do is to pay attention to the match numbers and alter your approach accordingly. At the top, it'll either say match 1 of 1, 1 of 3, 1 of 5, or 1 of 7. If you've got the solo game and they show up every now and then it is gung-ho. You've got to do whatever it takes to win that. Early on, it's not so drastic, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to need to go to your cheats and you're going to need to use something to make a victory happen. Later on down the line, you can go with auto wins, as that's a cheat which you can use, very useful, or you can just use cards you built up over time with a couple of power boosts. When you've got 3 matches, it allows you to lose 1 game, so you can win the first game. If the requirements are a little bit iffy on the second game, you can just let it go and charge up your final round. For 5 games, it's the same, but you can lose 2 matches, and for 7 games, you can lose 3 matches. This first one says all cards must have different alignments, which means I must have different arrows. We're going to go EO Sky with the left, Sid with the up, and then one of the Cenas for the right. Press play to get it going, and we get the win. Nice. First couple of games are going to be come up against void cards, maybe ignition cards at best. The second match says all cards must have different alignments. Now, this is where you need to pay attention to the stats you're using, because I have 3 right arrows and 1 left arrow. So I'm going to put in the left arrow, first of all, the Undertaker. Then we got Seth Rollins for the right arrow, and he is drastically better than Cena and Mosh. Whichever one you decide to use, make sure you put that in first, because as you'll notice, if I put in Cena first, the amount of my stat is way lower. Putting in Seth Rollins is not going to increase that number. It doesn't automatically go with the best. It goes in with which card you've put in first. So we're just going to throw in Mosh because we know he is the weakest, and because it's void cards, we should win pretty easily. There we go. Now you got to pay attention to the number of games you've won in this, and sometimes it is a case of I've just been busy, or I've had my head or eyes away, especially when you're streaming or recording a video like I've just done. You've got to pay attention to the score. Now the good news is I am 2-0 up, which means I don't need to win. It gives you no bonus or benefit to go flawless, which I find a little bit weird. I thought they would do maybe extra points if that happened, but no. If I win or lose now, it is completely indifferent. I get the win, but I could have easily lost and thrown it all away. And there's our first win. Let's go, baby. Now we are going to come back to the draft board in just a bit. I want to go through the matches first. We're going to grab ourselves an adventure card in Dragon Lee, and we're going to grab ourselves a rule card to give us a boost, a 5% boost, not the best. And we're also going to grab a booster pack, which gives us a much better 75% boost on the down arrows. But when you're in a situation like I just found myself in, the last thing you want to do is be using cheats on a match you don't actually need to win. This match is a best of 5, so I need to get 3 victories at least. And it says all cards must have different alignments. Now, I'm going to just throw this out there and put in 2 left. Let's just say I don't have the right cards to make this work. Sometimes it is worth throwing out a dud. Now we know Bam Bam Bigelow and Uncle Howdy should easily get the win, but there are certain occasions where it will not use the correct arrows, or will have the same problem I had, where it uses the same arrow twice when it used to use different arrows. And throwing out a dud you think was going to lose might actually end up giving you the win. If the opponent scores 0, you get the win regardless of what your score is, whether it's 1,000,000 or whether it's 0. Sometimes a game that looks like a dud isn't actually a dud, and you might get a sneaky, cheeky little win. So if you don't need the W, throw it out and maybe wait for the next round to go all in. This one needs a right arrow, so I'm going to go press play and we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure we will get the W over Bray. There we go. Seth Rollins gets the win. Now it's asking for an up arrow, which we don't have. So I'm going to redraw, but first I'm going to do a little sneaky trick. The best card I have is the Undertaker, and he will beat most of my opponent's cards for the next 5 or 6 rounds. So I want to hold on to him. And what I'm going to do is, instead of just redrawing, I'm going to redraw without the Undertaker as part of that random redraw. This will give me the cards I hopefully need, which it hasn't, but now I've got more left arrows and better cards for the future, so I'm just going to chuck in Mosh. I need to lose this game effectively. He's gone for the up arrow, he's got the W. Right, so all cards must have the same alignment here. We are on the verge of losing because we have 1 win to their 2 wins, so we're now going to go to a cheat, and we're going to re-roll the match requirement, which is going to give us all cards must have the same alignment. Good news is we've got EO Sky from our redraw with the Undertaker. We press play. Our rule gives us a boost at the top, and there we go, 2 to 2. Again, we've got all cards must have the same alignment, so I'm going to put in LA Knight, which with the rule at the top, which we'll come to again in a moment, we'll get a 75% boost. But I want another down arrow, so I'm going to redraw whilst keeping LA Knight, and I get myself Chris Sabin. Let's go. Very, very good redraw. And I also got myself Dragon Lee, which in another scenario may have given me a card for later on down the line. With that 75% boost at such an early stage, this should be a pretty easy win. We get, 239 versus 66,000. Game number 2 is done. We're going to pick an adventure card here, which is Ravishing Rick Rude, and I'm also going to go for a rule, another left arrow, very low left arrow as well. As you play each match, you'll have the ability to check out the round info. You'll be able to see how many cards you're going to need, check out the alignments, the matches, and each one is a must-have different alignments. You can check your opponent's deck and see what they are packing before going into the next match. Good news is they've got no adventure cards, and their prize cards are lacking. Take screenshots of this or note it down with a piece of paper or something, because you can then know in advance what cards are going to be required, so you can hold back or throw out games you're not necessarily sure you want to risk. Going to go one more booster pack, which gives us Ignore Match requirement, one of my favorite cheats. And then we're going to go into our third match. All cards must be different alignments. Ravishing Rick Rude, we're going to use Mosh, and we're going to use Chris Sabin. That's a left, right, and a down. Thank you very much. We get the boost for the down arrow and the left arrow at the same time, and that should give us a 254 versus 110,000. Easy dub. We've got another situation here where all cards must have different alignments, so I am going to throw in Seth Freakin' Rollins, EO Sky for the right and left arrows, and do a redraw. We got Iron Sheik. Thank you very much. Not much of a boost this time, but hey, we should still win up against that goofy looking Penta. It's so cool. Now let's talk about the draft board. For every game you win, you're going to go to the draft board. And for each game you win, you'll receive between 2 and 5 picks. The general rule of thumb is that you'll get 2 picks for a 1 match, 3 match, and 5 match game, and 5 picks for a 7 match game. But sometimes you'll randomly get 5 picks for finishing a 1 match game. It's not common, but it happens. Big no, don't use auto draft. Seriously, it is probably the most pointless addition to this mode. It will miss things that later on down the line will be crucial for you to extend your streak onwards. When it comes to superstar cards, you want to focus on adventure only. Do not go, please, do not go for prize cards. As good as they are initially, they will run out of use very quickly. But I guess you're thinking, what other cards should I choose? Well, I've got a nice and handy guide for that. You may have noticed I was picking adventure cards and rules from the start. Well, for the first round 1 to 5, you want to be picking adventure cards and deck building first. If there's only one on the board or you've maximized the adventure cards, immediately start going for the rules. These, as you've seen, give a boost to the stats of the cards you've got for that alignment, whether it be up, down, left, or right. Third most important are the cheats at this point, and then the modifiers are a dead last. Once you get to round 6 to 10, however, that's going to change, because you want to make sure you focus on building up the base stats of these adventure cards. So then you're going to move on to the rules, building those up to the max stat, which again we'll cover off in a second, with adventure cards and deck building being secondary. Again, if you picked all the rules or you're happy with the rules you've got, then you go go after the adventure cards. Again, cheats and modifiers are on the tail end because you will get those naturally from picking off the board. You won't be needing to use them unless you get incredibly bad luck, so just try to avoid in the early rounds wasting these. For rounds 11 to 15, it gets a little bit more juicy and interesting. At that point, you should have enough adventure cards to put away from focusing on that too much, and you want to then change to building up the cheats. Secondly will be modifiers and adventure cards to continue building your deck, but this time with the modifiers, you're going to be wanting things like remove card, change alignment, and permanent boost to stats. These are going to build up your big cards for later on down the line. By this point, your 4 rule cards should be pretty much set. So unless you're still trying to get those set up, you want to leave those dead last. You don't want to be touching them at all. Around 16 onwards, you want to be focusing on one thing, as these are the things you'll be using the most. Now, whilst at this point, you will also need modifiers to boost your cards. If you're at that point, for free-to-play purposes, you're probably not going to go much further. If you're buying the booster packs, however, at that point, modifiers will probably more likely come from there than they will off of the draft board. But if you have exhausted the amounts of cheats you get off the draft board, the alternative are the modifiers. This next part is really important to those of you who want to go through the biggest streak possible. If you're wanting to emulate what these guys have done and go for the absolute top, you're going to want to control and lock down your deck. What I mean by that is you will not want to add to your deck unless you know exactly what you're getting. Moving beyond 20 games, you don't want to have any new adventure cards entering your deck. By this point, you would have used your modifiers to start souping up the cards you have, adding these modifiers to up to 5 different cards like we have with the Rock. You want to be trying to eliminate any ignition or prize cards in your deck and focusing purely on keeping any of the ridiculously powerful adventure cards you have. Make sure you get the best draws possible when you go into a match. You're not going to want this mosh card later on down the line when you're facing up against a card that's going to do 1 million points of damage on a single stat. It's also worth learning who the best and worst cards are, because you don't want to be running necessarily with an Izzy Dane, for example, when you can run with a Cody Rhodes, or an Angel when you can run with Stephanie Vaquer. I'll put a list on the screen for you. I'm going to try to zoom in and scroll as slow as I can, but it is available in my Discord, so you can come there to see all the different stats. And this will be the same for any rarity that comes along, whether it be Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. We'll have it in our Discord chat so you can check what the best card you have to focus your modifiers on. But you've got to be careful that the right card you're modifying lines up with the arrows you have. The last thing you want to be doing is boosting an American Nightmare Cody Rhodes when your rules are for up arrows and right arrows, because Cody is a down arrow, so it's not going to benefit him in any way, shape, or form. In that case, if you had a Stephanie Vaquer or a Shawn Michaels, you would put it on them instead, because they are up arrows and right arrows. These would get not just the permanent modifier boost, but they'd also get the boost from the rules when they are used in game. For those of you who might be a little bit bewildered and thinking this is way too complex, this is for much later on down the line. These are tactics you're going to need to use if you're going for, I don't know, game 20, 24, 25, 27, 30. If you are playing Super Showdown free to play, your goal and your actions will be slightly different, as your aim will be to reach round 15 plus. You won't benefit from any additional rewards by going further than this. That means a change of strategy on the draft board. You're going to want to be focusing initially on rules, then moving on to cheats, and then moving on to your adventure cards. Once you've got to round 15, you can go out in a blaze of glory if you want, because everything past that point is gonna become brutal. Unless you're going for the longest streak possible, honestly, going past 15 doesn't really help anyone. The rewards are still the same. You don't really get a big boost in points. You're much better saving yourself time by just getting out there and restarting. With that in mind, you want to be smashing as many of these cheats towards the latter rounds just to get yourself over the line. Don't be afraid to use them, of course, if you need to, but try your best to save them before you get to game 12, 13, 14, or 15. And I wish you the best of luck. Following this guide, you should, as a free-to-play player, get yourself up to level 13, 14, and 15 pretty simply. But like I said at the beginning, sometimes you're just going to get a bad draw and you're going to be fighting against a system that just wants you to lose.
You lose! Good day, sir!
So let's now focus on the different type of cards you find on the board and what you should be aiming for from those cards. Rules should be the immediate thing you focus on the moment you get past starting to build your deck. And if you use them the right way, will ensure you can get to the latter stages of the mode without too much of a sweat. So you're going to want to have 2 of the same arrow twice. So it could be 2 left, 2 rights, or 2 ups and 2 downs. You can go for something a little bit different if you want to, with, let's say, a 2 up arrow, 1 left and 1 down. Historically, I found it doesn't have the same impact and you end up having more difficulty the later on you get. But more importantly is the percentage of the boost. You want to ideally have the maximum 75% that I have for down arrows here on every single arrow. The higher the boost, the more likely it's going to benefit you, not just now, but later on down the line. And that is the most important thing. So if you have to potentially pull away from having 2 bonuses on a single arrow, but you're going to have a 75% boost on, let's say, a left arrow alignment instead of a 5% boost on a down arrow, I would personally go for the left arrow boost because the stats are going to be way better. But the ideal scenario is having a rule set that focuses on 2 arrows at a maximum of 75% each. I'm in a situation here where I don't have the requirements, not that I need it because I have already got the first 2 wins, but I'm just going to use the redraw feature as you saw previously me talking about, and we get the bonus of the down arrow LA Knight, and we're going to just throw in Seth Rollins and Dragon Lee in there. Hopefully this will get us the dub. Let's go. 3-0, next game please. So I'm going to start choosing the rules now. 75%, exactly what I said. So I am going to replace the left arrow on the left hand side and go for the next rule, which is a 5%. I don't need this, so I'm just going to get rid of it. To do that, just press away from it and you'll be able to get rid of that excess rule that you don't need. The next booster pack are 2 adventure cards. Yes, thank you very much. We're now at a 1 of 1 match, and I mentioned this to you guys earlier. You need to win this and try to go all out if possible to do so. So I need a left arrow or a down arrow as they have the biggest boosts. So I'm going to save my left arrow here for Osiris Griffin, redraw, and that's actually going to get me a better left arrow card. And I also have LA Knight there, who I know is very powerful too. I need a card that is going to win me the match. If I didn't have the Undertaker, I could use the ignore match requirement. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about it too much. I can just go 10% stat boost, select my Undertaker, and we get the double boost of the left arrow, 10% stat boost at the end, and this pretty much should guarantee victory. There we go. And that's our match 1 of 1. It's not too difficult at this point, but later on, trust me, you're going to need to bring some big guns. That 1 of 1 game also gave us 5 picks. So I'm going to use that to get some extra rules. We got a 5% there. We don't need that. We're going to go to the one on the top right, 75%. So we were going to replace the one in the middle from 5% to 75%. Then we're going to go choose the next one, which gives us a 10%. I'm going to go with replacing the 5% at the top for the up arrows because I don't need it. It's very early on. And because I don't have any adventure cards to build up the deck, I'm going to go immediately to the cheat, which is going to give me a 10% boost and a 50% stat boost as well. Booster pack this round. Here we go. Now we have the perfect set of rules. 2 left arrows, 75%, 2 down arrows, 75%, maximum boost achieved. We can now focus our entire game plan now on using the modifiers to get the best out of the deck we have. So I was going to cover cheats quickly, but I'm going to move on to modifiers. Now I'm going to be honest, these really are only beneficial for pay to win or long streaks, but it doesn't mean they're useless. They actually are incredibly useful. Now we know our rules and what arrows we're going to be focusing on. I can now remove cards I don't want in my deck. So I'm going to go to the very bottom of the pile, and I've got a right arrow Diamond Dallas Page. Sayonara, sucker. And we're going to now start building up the cards we want. Left and down arrows means that we can't go for, let's say, Brock Lesnar, for example. But who can we go for? That's right. The People's Champ, The Rock, gets a 20% stat boost. That is now permanent. boost. And when you have these boosts, you want to focus on 1 to 2 cards initially. As you progress further and further, you want to increase that to 3 or 4 cards and then push to 5 maximum. I call these nuke cards. As your streak increases, the more likely it is you're going to need these nuke cards at least either 1 or 2 per match. Initially though, if you are at the lower end, it's just going to give you a better chance of winning. They're almost like permanent cheats on certain stats. Some of the stats can be boosted by up to 100%. You're also going to get cards for arrow changes. And the reason you'd want to use those is to change cards, let's say like Brock Lesnar, who's an up arrow and an incredibly powerful card, to a left arrow or a down arrow. And yes, you can do that as long as you have the cards in your modifiers, which can turn a card from being relatively useless to incredibly reliable. And as time goes on, and the more of those modifiers you get, the more you can craft your deck and control your deck so you know exactly what you're doing in each match. Moving on to round 6, we've got power must be the highest stat, so we've got LA Knight. Yeah, I also want to keep Chris Sabin as well, so I'm going to redraw, hopefully get a power. Yes, there we go. We're going to use our left arrow for Osiris Griffin. We've got a double boost on both cards. This should get us through easily. You might get surprised every now and then when the cards show up that the opponent's using are way more powerful than yours, but again, at this early stage, you're not going to have to worry too much. This one says all cards must have different alignments, so I'm just going to throw them all in. I'm going to make sure I pick Sheik first because he has the higher number compared to Sid. We're going to hope that the current rules we have are going to give us the boosts we need. Yes, perfect. Later on, it would have been more of a problem. This one is lefts only, so I'm going to go Ravishing Rick Rude, Osiris Griffin, and Grayson Waller. Should be more than enough. We're approaching 1 million stats at this point. There's no way. In fact, they've got a 0, and that's that 0 point where they just throw everything to the wall and ends up actually not adhering to the requirements the match needs. This is a great time to move on to cheats. Now, these things you want to save if possible, but don't be afraid to use them if you need to. This is the most powerful auto win. Means whatever match you're in, you can win it regardless of how powerful your opponent is. No matter the alignment, no matter if you've met the requirements, you will always win. That's the kind of cards you're going to want to use when you're in a one-on-one situation later on down the line and you need a Hail Mary to get you out of a sticky situation. Next booster is Ignore Match Requirement, the second most important cheat in my personal opinion, because it means you can rely on your big rule boosts if it's in a situation where it's asking for the wrong arrows, or if it's saying you can't have more than one of the same arrow. By using Ignore, it just throws that requirement away and you can pick whatever cards you want. But ideally, those are the ones with the auto win and the big boosts that you want to be holding back until later. One thing a lot of people don't know is that you can stack boosts. Yeah, we're going to use LA Knight. That was actually ironic. I said yeah, and LA Knight's right there. There's a possibility I might need to use it, so I'm going to get rid of Sid, I'm going to use Ravishing Rick Rude, and I'm going to redraw again. And we do get Brock Lesnar. Now that is a very good pick, but we are still in a situation, but we do have left cards. So I'm going to go to my cheats. I want to ignore the match requirements so I can use my left arrows. So Rock, Ravishing Rick Rude, press play, it gets a 75% boost, another 75%, and it's ignored the requirements with an additional 10% boost on top of it. I didn't actually need it because they were going to lose regardless, but that's the kind of situation you'll come up against. Now, again, I've got 2 wins, so I can just throw in Undertaker. He gets a boost anyway, but there's a chance he might lose it. I don't need to worry. There we go. We get the dub. 3-0 clean sweep and 2 picks to go alongside it. So I will show you my opinion of the best cheats to keep back until later stages, from strongest to weakest. Personally, like I said, the auto win, the ignore match, and the higher boost, the 75 to 100% stat boosts, are essential for playing later on. Then you've got the regular boost, and the last, because you can't rely on it as much, the reroll match requirement. alignment, because sometimes it rolls exactly what you want, but in other times you can actually roll it and get something even worse than what you got the first time. So I'm going to go and build up a cheat here, 50% stat boost, and another superstar, as we are still quite early on. If you've got any specific tips yourself, please let me know what they are in the comments down below, as I'm now going to use all those tricks that I've just taught you in this guide to get myself as far as possible. So wish me luck. Which is a 3-match game. I am starting to face much harder opposition. We've got double up arrows, which changed significantly scenario-wise from what you saw before. We boosted up a Brock, we've got Izzy Dame, and it wants me to have the same alignment, which is going to be a bit tricky. I do have an ignore match, but I'd rather wait. I've got 5 of those. Maybe I'll use one of them, because at this point, you're going to find crazy numbers. So we're going to use Brock, we're going to use Izzy, and we're going to use Typhoon. Do I have any boosts I can drop in? I really want this dub, so I think we're going to have to drop 100% in and maybe see how it goes. 1.6 million. We should be able to get it through, but we'll see what they got. 474, I mean, probably used that a little bit too early.
You don't say!
I'm going to go 2 up arrows, and I'm going to redraw and hopefully get, maybe redraw again. Didn't get anything good that time. Wow. Okay. Maybe this is going to be another one where I ignore. And I've got a feeling this one is going to be where I get hit by some crazy 4 adventure card deck on the other side. 1.416 mil. It's going to be just over, isn't it? No, okay. I'm surprised. I totally expected to get my butt handed to me then, but thankfully, I didn't. There we go. 2-1 on round 19. Oh, this is going to get tight. At this point, I just want the modifiers. I don't want anything else. 25 stats and 50 stats. Let's check out the booster pack. Nice. What does round 20 got in store for us? It's a 1 of 1s. I know I said I didn't want to use it, but I am going to use the ignore match because I do have an absolute peach in Asuka. So I am going to go 100% stat boost. I want to get this dub, so that'll take up to 3.2 mil. You might not have to go this far. You'll be surprised what I've come up against at this stage in the past. This might give us 5 picks. Let's go. So we need to get those cheats, 10% stat boost, and a reroll match. And then a couple of modifiers, a change to up arrow. Nice, 25% stats and 10% stats. Booster pack this time, so I don't want to another adventure card, because if I do that, I'm potentially adding cards that are going to be difficult to control. So I'm going to go with LA Knight for this one. Change him to a up arrow. Now 25 is the highest I've gotten so far. Now all cards must have the same alignment. Okay, so we can go for the up arrows, but I've got a feeling that this ain't gonna be enough because we're using ignition and prize cards. 1.561. Yep, see? There you go. You get the nasty little game where someone comes along and goes, nah, we go with the 100% stat boost, and we're gonna have to just hope for the best. Come on, baby. Yeah. See, I wouldn't have won if I didn't have that 100% boost, but we are running very short on cheats at the moment. We need more cheats. Auto win. Let's go. Another auto win. 10% stat boost. Not the greatest. Can this booster pack be cheats? No, it is a right arrow. That's not what we want. Okay, up to my previous personal best now. I'm starting to think the screw is in, right? The screw is happening. I can re-roll the match because I know I will lose if I put in Typhoon. And oh, we got a big boy. Big boy's in. Because of how big the natural disasters are, this might be enough. Possibly, maybe. Oh, 0. I worried for no reason. Okay, so play my weakest card. I'm just going to press ignore. This might be a bad call. We'll try anyway. Maybe he doesn't get the best. Oh, no, we are in a lot of bother. This is a lot of bother, guys. Only up arrow cards apply, and then I ignore. Okay, this might be the Hail Mary. I might not get a better chance than this. No boost to the cards, and I've used a lot of cheats, so... Oh, we got it. Personal best broken, but I have used a lot of cheats, so I've got to hope that this next bit goes better. So we got 1 cheat here. Woo, 25% boost and a modifier, 10% stats. Not exactly what I'm after. We need a booster for the son of a... Man, these cheats are not looking good. I need a big match. This is a 1 of 7 as well. Yikes. Okay, I think redraw cheat with a 25% stat boost. This one's going to be really tight as well. Okay, match 1 of 7, nearly 2 mil. Watch this not be enough. Again, without that 25% boost, we would have been screwed. Power's the best. Ooh, okay. You know what? I might have to throw this out and just take the L. Because we know we're going to lose. 1.5 mil. There was no way I was going to win. Cards must have different alignments. Ooh, hear me. See, I'm thinking we ignore match and we just go bang, bang, bang. Because this should give us a massive boost to Great Muta and Brock Lesnar. Is it going to be enough, though? That's the question. Oh, not enough. I thought it would be enough. So unless he has a significant fail here. Oh, okay. I didn't expect to get that dub. Only right arrows. Okay, so we gotta hope that Earthquake is enough with his crazy stats. I don't think it's gonna be enough. Oh, okay. Well, I wonder if the game's toying with me right now. Yep, we're coming down to the last match and I have nothing. Everything now is in the hands of SuperCard, which means I am 100% screwed. This is 100% a loss. There is no way this is going to be a win. We've got Drew McIntyre and Julia. Yeah, 1.5 mil. It toyed with me and then knocked me out at the last. We got the best streak we've had so far. I think that was a brand new streak, I'm pretty sure. Okay, only 25. I thought we got to 26. But hey, there you go. We matched our streak before. I hope this guide has been helpful to you all and it helps you get to a new personal best. So let me know in the comments if it has done. It's a long old video. And if you did make it all the way to the end, then use the word Snatcher in your comment, as in Soul Snatcher, and I will give you a heart just for doing so, because you're beautiful. Make sure you hit a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more guides. Otherwise, you might find this guide over here for Boom very useful. Or maybe you want something more recent, go check out the latest on the channel just down there. I have been JB, you have been awesome. I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe by pressing my nose.